Hi, my name is Annie, and welcome to the Walking Word, where we go through the Holy Bible in a year as part of discipling. We are still in the book of Leviticus, and now in Leviticus chapter 18, the sanctity of sex. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and tell them, I, the Lord, am your God. You shall you shall do you shall not do as they do in the land of Egypt, where you once lived, nor shall you do as they do in the land of Canaan. Don't behave like where I got you from, and neither behave like the people where I'm taking you to. Where I'm bringing you to, do not conform to their customs. My decrees you shall carry out, and my statutes you shall take care to follow. I, the Lord, am your God. I, your master, am also your creator. Keep then my statutes and decrees, for the man who carries them out will find life through them. I am the Lord." There's a safety in following God's commands. None of you shall approach a close relative to have sexual intercourse with her. That is incest. You're not allowed to do that. I am your Lord. You shall not disgrace your father by having intercourse with your mother. I mean, that's just an abomination. A mother and a child having relations. Besides, she is your own mother. You shall not have intercourse with her. And this is where we see parents who defile their own children sexually as very demonic. You shall not have intercourse with your father's wife, for that would be a disgrace to your father. If you can go back in time and remember that Reuben slept with one of Jacob's concubines. So this is what God is saying. It is a disgrace to your father. You cannot sleep with your stepmother or you shall not have intercourse with your sister, incest, your father's daughter or your mother's daughter, whether she's half sister, full sister, three-quarter sister, whatever. You shall not. It is very demonic. Whether she was born in your own household or born elsewhere. So whether she was the daughter of maybe your father's concubine, it doesn't matter. Whether she was the daughter of your mother when she was married elsewhere, it doesn't matter. It still remains that she's your blood. You shall not have intercourse with your son's daughter. So this is uncles and grandparents having relations with their grandchildren. Having sexual relations with their grandchildren is utterly demonic. You shall not have intercourse with your son's daughter or with your daughter's daughter, for that would be a disgrace to your own family. You shall not have intercourse with the daughter whom your father's wife bore to him. You shall not have intercourse with the daughter whom your father's wife bore to him. So this is like a half sister or a stepsister or something like that. Since she too is your sister, you shall not have intercourse with your father's sister, not your auntie. Since she's your father's relative, you shall not have intercourse with your mother's sister, still your aunt. Since she is your mother's relative, you shall not disgrace your father's brother, your uncle, by being intimate with his wife. Can you imagine sleeping with your uncle's wife? Very demonic. Since she too is your wife. Remember in the beginning, God said, they shall become one, and became one flesh. So it's literally saying that by your aunt being married to your uncle, she automatically becomes a close relative to you by virtue of being one with your uncle. This is why we can't do those things. Okay? You shall not have intercourse with your mother's sister, since she's your mother's relative. You shall not disgrace your father's brother by being intimate with his wife, since she too is your aunt. We've talked about oneness. You shall not have intercourse with your daughter-in-law. I mean, that's just breaking your son's heart. Like, that's just bullying. She is your son's wife, and therefore you shall not disgrace her. That's like your daughter. You shall not have intercourse with your brother's wife, for that would be a disgrace to your brother. Remember, later on in scripture, in the book, when we're seeing John the Baptist's head being ordered for on the account of Herodias, the sin that John the Baptist was condemning upon Herod was the fact that Herod took his brother's wife and made him his wife. And that's what earned him murder or beheading. Murder through beheading. You shall not have intercourse with your brother's wife, for that would be a disgrace to your brother. You shall not have intercourse with a woman and also her daughter. Nor shall you marry. Can you imagine having relations with both a mother and their daughter? That's creepy, extremely. You shall not have intercourse with a woman and also with her daughter, nor shall you marry and have intercourse with her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter. This would be shameful because they are related to her. While your wife is still living, you shall not marry her sister as her rival. I'm sure you've seen these, especially in African traditional settings where our aunties who were sisters would marry the same man, and the whole idea behind it or the reasoning behind it is that at least the children are ours as we are sisters. So how I can take care of your child is how you would be able to take care of my child, as opposed to allowing our husband to bring, a wife from somewhere else. So us as sisters, we choose to have one husband. While your sister is still alive, that's not good. But after your sister passes away, God says, okay, maybe. Yeah? For thus you would disgrace your first wife. So you'll always find the younger wife, disrespecting the first wife and things like that. Most of the time, those settings where sisters would get married is either, let me speak on behalf of many of the Kenyan tribes, and many African tribes can also attest to this. Nation tribes, African nation tribes, is that we would mostly do this in instances where maybe my elder sister was barren and we didn't want her banished from that home. So we'd add another wife from one of the other sisters to help her bear children. You shall not approach a woman to have intercourse with her while she is unclean from her menstruation. Do not have sexual relations with a woman when she's on her periods. You shall not have carnal relations with your neighbor's wife, defiling yourself with her. Don't covet your neighbor's property. Just don't make yourself dirty. You shall not offer any of your offspring to be immolated to Molech. This means offering child sacrifice to Molech. And this is mostly relates to abortion, coerced miscarriages, also, this is a tricky one, but if you pay attention, you'll catch it. Also, if you pour out your seed as a man, you're immolating your seed to Molech, because these are generations that are coming from you. So wasting your seed, aborting children, offering sacrifices to the demon god Molech through fire. So that's what they actually used to do, throw children, small children, into fire as an offering to this demon god called Molech. That's profane, because you will profane the name of your God. Yeah, so this is basically because you'll be disrespecting God before demons. I am the Lord. You shall not lie with a male as with a woman. So, no homosexuality. Such a thing is an abomination. You shall not have carnal relations with an animal, no bestiality, defiling yourself with it. Remember, God created them both male and female, so you cannot go to an animal. Nor shall a woman set herself in front of an animal to mate with it. Such things are abhorrent. It's God is abhorred by it. Do not defile yourselves by any of these things, by which the nations whom I am driving out of your way have defiled themselves with. So back in the day, there was a lot of abomination, bestiality, incest, homosexuality, all these things that God calls abhorrent, and mostly with the Egyptians and the Canaanites, and that's why God doesn't want the Israelites to mix up with them. I am punishing, because their land has become defiled, I am punishing it for its wickedness by making it vomit out its inhabitants. You, however, whether natives or residents, aliens, must keep my statutes and decrees, forbidding all such abominations by which the previous inhabitants defiled the land. So every form of sexual defilement actually creates an abomination on the land. That's why you see certain nations, especially that exhibit these sexual sins openly, tend to suffer. How do I call it? Their land just tends to have chaos. Just has There's a lot always happening around those nations. You, however, whether natives or residents, must always keep my statutes and decrees, forbidding all the abominations by which the previous inhabitants defiled the land. Otherwise, the land will vomit you out also for having defiled it, just as it vomited out the nations before you. Everyone who does any of these abominations shall be cut off from among his people. Heed my charge. Listen to what I'm telling you then, not to defile yourselves by observing the abominable customs that have been observed before you. I, the Lord, your master, I am your God, your creator. Chapter 19, we just look at some rules of conduct.